We're live.
Hey,
Welcome to Red Hoop Talk. This is Roy and my lovely sister
hi.
Shannon. How you doing?
Helito. I'm Shannon O'Loughlin, citizen of the Choctaw Nation, and happy to be the executive director and attorney at the Association on American Indian Affairs, who's bringing you
Who?
Red Hoop Talk today. Are you flashing? Is lightning going off? What's going on, Roy?
You know, okay, so I changed the mic. I
Okay.
changed the camera. I've
Okay.
changed computers. I cannot stop the flashy thing from happening. I
You ever
don't
think it was
know
the
what.
user?
I think it's my electrical in my house or something like that. I don't freak. It's driving me batty. I stream 4 times a week, and I have this flashy thing going on, and I've got all this equipment that I've spent all this money on, and I still can't get rid of the flashy thing.
Well, it's clear you're just a flashy kind of guy, and we'll just put up with it.
And my
Um,
voice is like butter now, right?
and your voice is like butter. You got a great mic. Oh, hey, Lance, thank you. Yeah, I was having a difficult week last week, and I really needed to not show my face on camera last Sunday. I don't think anyone would have been uh, uh, felt like they were having fun if they were in my world last Sunday. So I'm really glad to be back, and thanks for putting up with Roy all by
All
himself.
by myself. All
Oh
by myself.
man. Well,
It
listen,
was
I'm
just
coming to you from the lands of the original homelands of the Piscataway peoples, which is now called Maryland. Roy's coming to you from
from
a place of
California,
many
from
people.
the great peoples of the land of California. Too many to mention. Too many to mention.
Well, some of them, like the Kumeyaay, are fighting to stop the border wall, and we're glad they're there doing that. I hope everyone's staying safe out there in California. COVID
It's
numbers,
really, really bad out here right now.
is it
Really bad. Really, really
in
bad.
Indian country? It's really bad.
I think it's bad everywhere right now.
Navajo Nation tried to get a state of emergency called
Mm-hmm.
because they just, and they have been really putting up a good fight on how to protect themselves.
Yeah.
But still, the numbers are going through the roof.
Staggering. It's staggering the numbers right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
And what a what I have no words for what it is. I mean, the fact that we are the worst in the world right now. You know that we're the worst.
We've always been that, haven't we?
It seems it seems at times yes. There is brief moments of greatness here, but then we seem to fall short a lot when it comes to common sense.
Well, when you've built yourself on an old Indian burial ground, shit's gonna happen. Um,
The curse, right? Is that the curse?
but
Good.
I think we can joke about that, but I really think there's some seriousness to it.
There is. I just lost a friend in the industry that I work in. Passed away last weekend.
From the corona.
From COVID, and we lost a cousin in our family, a second
Mhm.
cousin of mine out in Texas, and this other person passed away in Texas. A guy I work with in the industry for many years. We've known each other for 20 plus years, and yeah, it's at first, like when it first came out, you were hearing about it, but you weren't. At least we weren't being affected by it directly. You heard of cases, you heard of a lot of people getting it, um, but now it seems to be seeping into like almost everybody has somebody that has been touched by COVID in one way, shape, or form. And I have a good friend whose wife has it right now, and and he's a denier. He's a, he's one of those deniers, and
Denying that there's a pandemic.
he's a denier that there's a pandemic. One of those types, and I'm friends with a lot of people that don't believe or understand or have a worldview like my own. Um, eh, but it it's still You look at these people and you think that they're smart, and you think that they're um, that they haven't what do you call it, a good sense of just just for being normal. I mean, I don't know what it is and why these people are buying into some of these strange conspiracy theories that are out there.
Well,
I'm not understanding right now what the world is going through, because there's people that I thought had very good common sense that are buying into a lot of this weird stuff. And I don't know. It's very strange times right now. Very
yeah,
strange
well,
times.
there's a lot of documentaries out about that right now. A lot of it having to do with our social media and how our public consciousness is basically being created for us
Mm-hmm.
through algorithms and what have you. It's all very concerning. I'm grateful for those in Indian country who are, you know, just staying with the things that are important, and they're not getting, they're not worrying about that stuff. There's other things that are more important, and you just can't change the minds of those naysayers. I remember going to our friend Little Crow and asking him, how do I change the world? Basically, how do I save the world? How do I, make a change in the world? And he says the only thing you can change is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because you make a difference.
right, because we each make a difference. And it's like a spider web. It's like we're on this big spider web, and even though we're way over here in the little section of the spider web, we'll create vibrations and do things here that will affect the whole thing. So we just have to remember that we're responsible and accountable for how we behave and how we think. And we really can't do much for um
For the
those
rest,
the folks that,
well,
who
I think, and so like I was telling you, so I've been perplexed by this, by people like this, because, for instance, my one friend, whose wife did get COVID. He's a very smart guy. He's a PhD
Mhm.
um, in human behavior. um, he's like a psychologist. He is a psychologist. So this is a smart person,
Yeah.
or a book smart person anyway, and he is 100% completely bought into that narrative that there's these big conspiracy theories going on out there, um, to I guess control them. I don't know. I don't understand what they're worried about. I mean, our government here can barely freaking tie its own shoes, let alone try to set up world domination and people control. It's the weirdest thing, I think. I mean, it's so dysfunctional for something so dysfunctional to have so much power over people's minds. Just it baffles me that
Yeah.
people are actually think of it that way. Like it's this omnipotent power that is coming to get you, and it can't even pass a law anymore.
Well, we'll see about that. I think things will change, but we still
Mm,
got a lot of growing up to do, right?
I
Um,
guess I don't know.
Lance is asking about the COVID vaccines at Navajo, and I have read a few articles that there are some vaccines that are going to Navajo. First off, I don't know how many. I don't know what the agreement is. I'm reading here. I'm looking at an article from the Hill.com announced on Saturday that it will receive its first doses of Pfizer and BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine early this week. So the nation says it's expecting its first shipments on Monday and Tuesday. And I think especially in those long-term assisted living facilities, is one place on the reservation where it's going first. So, I don't know what that agreement looks like, and I don't know how it's going to be administered or by whom. But it looks like we're all going to be watching the Navajo Nation over the
Yeah.
next several months.
Well,
Hey,
good.
Teresa, Prairie
Yeah.
Band Potawatomi. Yes, I love Potawatomi. I'd rather be a Potawatomi than have a frontal lobotomy, right? That's a joke. Come on, Roy, laugh. Teresa, laugh. You like that joke, right? All right, whatever.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. That was a good Shannon joke. Yes. All right.
Oh,
Robert Noonan says the racists are scared. They can't think straight. That's why they're easily manipulated. Guaranteed, your book smart friend is a racist. I probably would have to say that there probably is a little hint of that in there. One of the things that I've experienced in my life because of the way I look, because my father was a full blood and my mom was completely full blood white. My dad was full blood native. I Because of how I look, I was always able to walk amongst people who felt free to speak any way that they pleased. And the surprising thing to me is even out here in California is there is an exasperating amount of racist people out there, and they really just don't even know it. They don't think that even though they won't say certain things around other people that they would say maybe around somebody who looks like me, they still say them, and then they don't think that they're racist, but they won't say them elsewhere. So it's this, I'm still trying to wrap my head around why these people are like that, and I think you're right about the fear.
mhm.
Shoot Robert. I still think that you're right about the fear. I think that this is the death throes, the flailing, the drowning of that culture, that narrative, that way of thinking.
Well, let's think about putting it in perspective a little bit. So we know racism is a social construct. There's no physical basis for racism. We all have the same blood. We all have the same cells doing the same kind of stuffs
Yeah,
in our
it's a
body.
social.
It's about the amount of melatonin we have, and that's it. It's all socially created, and one interesting thing about racism that sometimes people don't understand or don't grab onto this part is that racism, the meaning of racism is about having the power to infect institutions, to
Yeah.
influence institutions such
Yep.
that they treat people inequitably,
Yeah.
unequally. So, like, um, I can be a racist, but if I have no power, then who gives a
Yeah,
shit?
you're pissing into the
Um,
fan.
so who we really care about are those racists who are part of corporations, who are part of our government, um, you know, who have the power to um, keep us unequal.
Yeah, but here's
Um,
the other concern I have for those that don't have that power is that they're raising that power and they're keeping that power alive through their circles and their inner
to
circles.
their own militancy, and
Well,
that's
by
where it
continuing
gets
the
bad.
narrative, some of the people that are more vocal or powerful in their circles, when they speak those things, when they act in that way, they influence others, and they're raising children that way, and continuing the cycle and
Yeah, yeah.
continuing to push the narrative. And who knows what that child might end up being president or
Well, how the hell did
you
we
know.
get on racism, man?
Well, I mean, it's
Thanks a lot, Robert, Mr. Robert Noonan. Thanks
well,
a
we
lot.
started with the COVID, but it was, and I don't know how good it is to see that those trucks roll out today. I have mixed feelings about the what do you,
The vaccine?
the vaccine. I was trying.
Really?
I
You're
kept
not
saying,
going to take the vaccine?
um, no, I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't. You know,
Well, we're not important. And we're not.
No, no, no. I know I'm not on the
Going to be.
list. Like my
You're right.
grandfather, he's on the list. He's 90 years old and he's on the he's afraid to even open his front door right now. I just talked to him this morning and he's like, I'm not going over there and visiting him now. I was staying over there a few days a week and now I'm not even visiting him, so it's just a phone call every day.
Oh, yeah.
But he won't even open his door. He's so scared. And I don't know about this vaccine. It's, I'm not buying into the conspiracy theory either, but it's like the fastest a vaccine has ever been made. And, right before the elections, we were talking about, no, there ain't going to be no vaccine till next year sometime. And then right after the election, all of a sudden it's like, hey, it's done. So I don't know what that was all about. Um, I guess it's good that it didn't go the other way. I don't
Well,
know.
if I see Dr. Fauci giving it to, his family and he's doing it, if supposedly Obama and Bush and Clinton and these presidents are lining up saying they'll get it and their families will get it.
I'm a little leery of anybody ever telling me, "Hey, everything's good, it's safe, go right on ahead."
Right. Well, and the scary thing for me is I have a 14-year-old. So, what is that going to mean for him more than I'm worried about what's it going to do to me?
Yeah, I've got a 4-year-old. I'm really
Yeah.
worried about that. My wife is not an anti-vaxxer, but we've spread his vaccinations out so that he doesn't get like the 20 shots, the 20 things at one time, and all that kind of stuff. So
Listen to Lance.
I'll take it. Lots of high technology and modern medicine developed by a black woman. Okay. Well, that makes it better, I guess. I guess that makes it better. It wasn't some rich racist white guy that made it.
She's not related to Clarence Thomas, or I don't know.
But
Well,
I have mixed feelings about it. Only because it's like all of a sudden, boom, it just got plopped on our laps, and I'm like, whoa, crap, here it is. It's
I
already.
think they've been working on it since.
Well, of course, they've been working on it since day one. But the rate at which it, like I said, just a month ago, it was out of the question. We weren't going to see it. And now all of a sudden, no, it's here. And actually, the truck's leaving today and you're going to get it tomorrow.
Well, we'll be watching and
Yes, definitely.
we'll see where it goes. Well, let's liven the mood a little bit. We have a really incredible guest today. I want to us all
and he is looking very festive, by the way.
Very festive. So we're going to get in a little bit of holiday spirit here, and introduce a man that if you've been watching our show, you saw him at the association's annual membership event, Envisioning the Future, where he was one of our co-hosts on there. He also was part of our Envisioning the Future Red Hoop Talk panel. His name's SHAUN TAYLOR-CORBETT. He's an actor. He's from the Blackfeet Nation and a couple of other. He's got a diverse background, I'll say that. But I'd love to bring him on and let's get the convo started.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, I'm bringing him up. There he is.
Hey, SHAUN, what's happening, bud?
Welcome to the Christmas special.
Maybe it's cold outside.
Yeah, no, we're not going there. Hey, baby, I got hot flashes tonight. All right.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Wow, that was good.
Oh, thank you. You're too sweet. Thank you.
Hey, SHAUN, how's it going?
Great. It's so awesome to hear you speak. You guys are just dropping some important topics. No, but it's what we're all living through, and it's But it's great to it's we got to talk about it, and it's all on our minds, and it's always so interesting to hear your conversations and where they lead. Though it's really it flows real well. So I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to
blame
have
it
you.
on Robert Noonan. Robert Noonan.
And that's what's great about social media and these platforms that we have now is because the people can interact with us. We can move conversations in whatever direction we want, and the topic doesn't have to be stuck somewhere. We can actually interact with the audience. It's really cool.
No, it is cool. Love reading all the comments too.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And hey, so SHAUN, I was reading about your nation, the Blackfeet Nation. And I didn't realize how big the Blackfeet Nation was. There's 17,321 members or citizens of the Blackfeet Nation, one of the 10 largest tribes in the U.S.
Yeah.
Established by treaty in 1855. The reservation is located in northwest Montana. I had no idea that your nation was one of the biggies.
I know, and one of the toughest, baddest warriors out there. Browning, Montana is one of the communities. It's a big community, and then across the border going into Canada, you have another huge population, part of the Blackfoot Confederacy. The Siksika, Kainai, and so Southern Piegan, the Blackfeet folks in Browning, Montana. That's part of the Blackfoot Confederacy. So I haven't even met a lot of folks in the other tribes up north. I always stuck to Browning. That was my little community.
Well, you got to stay away from the crows anyway, right?
Yeah, I know. Watch out for those crows. Watch out. It's but I'll probably end up, meeting a crow lady, and she'll get me for that one. But it's my wonderful little community in Browning, Montana. I didn't grow up there. I grew up in the tribal community of Long Island. Now the land of Lenape out here. But 15, I really started. Well, I met my adopted relatives, the Kip family there, and they pretty much took me in. My family on my dad's side is Blackfeet, black and my mom's side Scandinavian. My dad's Blackfeet and black, as well as some other things that I'm exploring now at my age, to be honest, still. Mm-hmm. But Blackfeet is something I really connected to, and we lost connection to our family, our relatives there. And I was very honest, and I went there and I told Daryl Kip and the Kip family, and they were like, we recognize you as this 15-year-old. We've seen you before, young guys like you, young girls like you. And he took me in. Daryl Robes Kip, he's passed on, but he created the Cutswood Language Immersion School with Dorothy Still Smoking to preserve the Blackfeet language. And he is known as one of the most well-known scholar in preserving native languages probably in the world. Everyone that studies language preservation knows who he is. So he and Redman Little Plume and the Little Plume family just embraced me when I was 15, and I'm 42 now, and they just took me in, and I've been with them ever since, and I go back every year and learn a little bit more about the language. Now his son Darren Kip is running the Cutswood Language Immersion School, but that's my home away from home. It's been hard being away. I haven't been able to visit because of the pandemic, and I can't wait to get back there and see them. I know they're going through some hard times too, like we were talking about, but I've recently made a really close connection with some bundle holders there, and some really awesome people who are helping me learn more about the ceremonial way of life, but also connecting how we connect as our traditions and who we are with a bigger entertainment world, since that's what I'm in. So they're making these cool documentary videos about the Blackfeet language, lessons for young kids. And that's one of my big missions in life. But I'm going off on a tangent all over the place. But anyway, that's a little bit, I really miss being able to be there. And, that's a biggest part of my identity. And then later on in my adulthood, I realized I haven't been embracing my black identity. So that's also part of my identity. And being a mixed race guy and Scandinavian and white on my mom's side. And so a lot of my journey and educational talks that I do have to do with my identity and how I filter that into my art, as well as giving kind of an example of someone else in the indigenous world that has a very mixed background and what that's like, and are there other people out there that might, have a similar experience as I do. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know, I honor that about you. I mean, that's really great. I've been for the longest time I didn't know who my dad was, so I really only knew who I was as Choctaw.
Yeah.
You know, and from my grandmother. So now that I know that I'm Polish, I've well, that's a story for another day. But it helps other people make jokes about me. So, you know, hey. Uh, anyway, so what have you haven't been back at Blackfeet for a while. I know they're a really strong tribe. They're a treaty-based tribe. They cut off. They're right there by Glacier National
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah.
And they were actually one of the nations who cut off access to the park, I believe, to protect their nation from COVID and people traveling through.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
You know, I haven't, I didn't even know that, to be honest.
I hope I'm yeah, because I think it was the Glacier
Yeah.
National Park, and they I think they ended up closing down the park, but before that the tribe had put up roadblocks to prevent travel.
Yeah. I know
But
it's so
but
important, you know, that because I think tribes are getting hit way harder, you know, than
yeah,
most communities around the country and the world, and they weren't getting protection. And so I think it's taking using the sovereignty and being able to do that is to protect their, you know, to protect our people is very important. And you know, so I'm checking in with the Kip family, and you know they're doing well, but they say it's been a little rough, you know,
mm,
with within the community. But I need to check, and I've checked in with my elders that I communicate with there, and they're okay, thank God. So, but I know I can't wait till we can protect our people and get out of this, you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I hope the vaccine does prove to be effective right away, you know, with even with all the doubt and everything. I hope it does.
And Lance is one of our great commenters on the show. He said, "Great place to quarantine on the Blackfeet Nation."
I should have gone
And
there at the beginning.
yeah, yeah, that they were one of the great models for other tribes to follow. Thanks, Lance, for reminding
Thanks,
us of that.
Lance. Yeah.
So how does all that like? So who's Sean is a little boy? How did you get to do what you're doing? And we haven't talked too much about you know, you're an actor, you're a
Yeah.
writer, you are a creator. So how did that come to you?
Well, you know, I was really lucky. In as I was going through my cultural discovery and identity search when I was a teenager, I was also a little bit before that growing up in a household with this incredible choreographer director. Excuse me, my mom Lynn, who when I was about 8 years old, she choreographed the original Footloose, the movie.
I
And
didn't know
so,
that.
did you know that? Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I didn't. That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
Lynn and Sean are in the association's council of advisors. Yeah, I didn't know that about Lynn. That's cool.
yeah, and so that was very cool. You know, I was hanging out with all these amazing people on set, just doing Footloose,
Yeah, there it
Footloose.
is.
And I was like, not knowing what the heck, you know, what was going on around me. And then I remember going to all these ballet classes she would teach and choreograph these ballets for New York City Ballet. And I was playing with GI Joes on the ground, like, oh, I don't know, what are they doing? Who knows? This is just what every kid does. And I would grow up in, like, you know, tech rehearsals. I remember going to the St. James Theater when she was doing Swing on
Wow.
Broadway, directing and choreographing. So, and on my father's side, he was in the music business, you know, working with Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, and
Oh, man.
He was signing new bands to Columbia Records. So it was like these monumental entertainment figures in my life. And all my aunts are performers, actors, writers. So it was around me, it was always around me, being a creative spirit. So when I didn't know I wanted to do that. I thought the life was really hard. I saw ups and downs. I saw times where we had success and times where you just don't know how you're going to make it month to month. But all with joy and love surrounding me all the time. So that was my mom's side, and my dad's side was really kind of a little more tumultuous. That side of the family actually really, 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 really shied away from any kind of cultural identity of exploration at all, even though I was always curious about it. So my great grandma, when she was 98, talked to me about us being indigenous when I was like 8 years old. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I kind of socked it away. And then my aunt on that side was the only other one that helped me with that exploration. And then my mom on my Scandinavian side was the one who actually ended up taking me to Browning, Montana for the first time when I was 15. So I have a lot to thank her for. But in all those experiences, it all socked away into my creative identity. And I booked the role of, I played Tevier. I played Tevier in middle school, this old Jewish man. And I thought, why are all these people laughing at me? I'm not doing anything funny. And I realized, it's like a brown kid with a beard playing an old Jewish man. And it was like, I thought I was the biggest star, that they had ever seen. And then after, I got to college, I booked the role of Pippin, and I just fell in love with trying it out. And I said, Mom, I got to try this out. So I went to New York, and I had so much heart and so much passion for just performing. And I was raw. I didn't have a lot of technical ability, but I had the heart, and people just saw that and kept giving me a chance, small little roles here and there. And I just took off, started doing all sorts of roles. But we can talk more about this later. But my cultural identity didn't match with my artistic expression until like 10 years after I'd already been a professional. And I was playing all sorts of roles. I was playing, everyone kind of out representing thought I was Latinx. And they started offering me, I was in the original cast of In the Heights. But I didn't question it at all. I was just like, yeah, I love this music. I want to do this, And I experienced this incredible journey, and I was like this mixed race guy who was native but playing this Usnavi, and I got to be in the Richard Rodgers Theater, and then I got to play Frankie Valli, playing this Italian man, and all these like Italian Americans loving who I was, being a brown guy playing an Italian guy, and I was like,
yeah, there you go, reversing the stereotype a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Let me play an Italian role. You guys are playing native roles all the time. Let me play the Italian role. How do you like that? And Frankie Valli actually said, hey, remember in that video for the association's award, he was like, I'm proud that a native guy can play an Italian character, and thank you for doing that, Sean. So
yeah, the reverse ionized Cody effect.
Yeah. But it was yeah.
But it was not like there was a lot of native.
Well, that's the thing. That was the thing, in New York. And maybe I didn't discover Safe Harbors, a great theater company in New York. I didn't know about a lot, some of the smaller Lower East Side theater companies who were doing good work. But there weren't a lot of commercial native roles. So I didn't really. I had to find my window. Where could I fit in? And I had a lot of conversations with my Latinx friends, should I be doing this? Is this cool? And they were like, you're honorary, man. And I spoke Spanish just because I loved Spanish growing up. All my friends were like from Dominican Republic, Colombia. So I was like, I'm going to learn some Spanish and I'm going to hang out with them. And I went to Spain for 6 months and learned Spanish. And then I mean, it was like this really mixed experience thing. And then I was learning Nitsipoaxin, the Blackfeet language. As well, and trying to like just formulate it all together in this complex being. And in the Heights, I started working on a musical, a Native American pop musical, because I was like, well, where is my show? Where is a voice for Native people that I can be myself and my complex identity and represent that on stage? Because I saw what it was like to play a Latinx role and have that pride for your flag and your country. And I felt it for them, but I was also like, I want to feel that for me on stage too. So In the Heights really, I was already working on my show Distant Thunder, a pop native musical, but In the Heights showed me the level where we could go with indigenous stories, combining that with the entertainment industry, and so it all kind of started forming together of taking my experiences in preserving native languages, Daryl Ropes Kip and the lessons he imparted to me, um, being claimed by that small community in Browning, Montana, claiming them and wanting to share that and asking for permission and being humble and being able to express that story as well as my complex mixed race identity story. And I said, yeah, let's do this. And so I had a lot of hope from all the success of those shows to create a native pop musical, which has become like something way more than a show at this point. But
yeah, for sure. And so tell us a little bit of the storyline, if you don't mind, about Distant Thunder.
So Distant Thunder is, interestingly enough, the main character, when he's a young boy, about 5, maybe 8 years old actually, his mom moves away with him, and his white mom, and his dad is Blackfeet, and she takes him to Chicago, and he grows up outside of Browning, Montana, and he forgets who he is. He forgets what makes his home in Browning so important, what makes his indigenous roots so important to who he is. But he comes back 20 years later representing an oil company, thinking he can help the nation by creating a deal with an oil company and selling some land or leasing land on the Blackfeet Res to this oil company. But little does he know how much it will, the land where the oil company wants to buy is where this language immersion school is based. And so he threatens the very existence and survival of the Blackfeet language by the sale or the leasing to this oil company. And slowly throughout the show, the other co-main character, who's played by a woman, Dorothy, she, and the main character's name is Daryl, and Dorothy is teaching at the language immersion school, and she shows him over the course of the show how important it is to hold on to your culture, hold on to your language, what that means for identity, how that gives us strength, how that gives us the tools to survive going forward as a sovereign nation. And she succeeds, and he changes his perspective, and the indigenous lens is back on, and he helps them save the school. But we show the variety of arguments in the show because we have different thoughts, in each nation. Some people are really thriving from oil, and some people are saying, well, we have to be careful and make sure we protect our culture, and we put a lot of stock into that and not just the economic benefits of what was going on. What was happening too, and what influenced me is I got to go to Standing Rock, and I was there. And at first, actually, the story centered around Glacier National Park and the reservation, the Blackfeet Reservation. But I was so impacted by the Dakota Access Pipeline and that what I saw at Standing Rock that I wanted to show that conflict as well in the musical, and what I witnessed there. I also just wanted to show who we are as Native people in the present day, and not that we're antiquated images and stereotypes from the past, but we're who we are as modern people, with bringing our traditions with us, but also thriving in the modern world and doing it and also, here's the other thing, using a style that has prevented us from having access for so long, a Broadway musical, and saying, I can do it, and I can tell a Native story in a Broadway musical, and you're gonna love it just as much as any other show on Broadway. And so not just Broadway, but I started just with Broadway, and now that we're going to Oklahoma and we're bringing the show to other communities, the regional touring of the show to bring it to Native people is almost more important, as bringing it to Broadway. So it's a long range thing. We were gonna have, before the pandemic, we had like 500 Choctaw kids that were gonna come and see our musical in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so happy. We were gonna have my friends who are bundle holders. They were gonna fly in to see the show. The Kip family was gonna fly in. It was in Oklahoma. We were gonna have. I met with so many different tribal council leaders who were like, a musical, a native musical. That's interesting. Okay, we'll come. We'll check it out. And about 4 or 5 different nations in Oklahoma were giving money to the production. So I really see this as my way that I can help influence the course of our people in all nations. And don't get me started. You got me started, and now I can't stop.
No, but now it's obviously it's no coincidence that you used language to represent the loss of culture and identity and all that, because that is the most powerful component of our culture, is the language, and the effects of losing it. Makes really, there's so much in our language. There's so much so much culture embedded in just the language, and different words and inflections and songs and all these other things that are part of it. That once you start to mess with that, once you start to attack it or do anything to it, versus land or morality or spirituality or anything else that you take away, doesn't have the effect that removing the language does. And was that intentional?
Yeah, because that's what Daryl taught me. Daryl Ropes Kip, and he said, once that's gone, if language is gone, if the sovereignty over the land is gone, then what makes us the people? It's like that's the final solution, of genocide, and that was the goal, for a long time. So, in the 80s, he said they were discovering through their research with Dorothy Still Smoking that a lot of the first language speakers were passing on, and in 20 years from then, the language would be gone. So they created the Cutswood School so that they teach.
Is this it? What I have on here? Is this the
Pagan? The Pagan Institute. Yeah, that's it. And that's the overall. And there's Daryl, the picture of Daryl, and I think that's Dorothy. The overall picture. The overall umbrella organization, and then the Nitsi Powassin, I believe means first speak. First speakers or first speak, but that's the language schools that they created, and that's Darren, his son, there. So they created these schools, and they teach kids all day in the Blackfoot language, all subjects. And I every time I went to visit, Daryl would always introduce me to his students, and I saw a really clear difference between the young ones who were able to speak their language and the pride that they had, and kind of their being grounded and centered in who they were. I saw a difference just in pride and peace, and a peace in them than some of the kids that didn't, or some of the families that, a lot of the families had to be convinced that it was important to send their kids to this school, because it's a private school. But they get a lot of they thrive and survive on donations, as well as funding from the state, and they're doing great. So, and one of the goals of one of the things I'm doing with my musical, any money we raise, we want to sponsor a student at the Cutswood School.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's but that's key, Roy. You're right. That's one of the most important things I think we all have to, in all nations, we all have to fight to do is maintain the language. It's because the Blackfeet language is very active and flowing, and how we describe things in the language is different than when you just speak it in English.
Yes.
And it has significance, and it has a spiritual connection going back thousands of years. And it unlocks something. And I think I show that in the show, or we show that in the show. You see Daryl starting to unlock certain words and certain phrases that he forgot and what that does to his perspective.
Nice.
And wanting to fight for his language and people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you for showing that. Thank you for finding that and putting that up there.
Yeah, it's got some great resources and other things going on here. So really great website and a lot of information about about the language and the school and what their process is. And that's where I've seen, where tribes have been able to take, even if it's just a little bit, and build their primary education and then build on that. It's been incredible. There was a tribe I got to visit when I was at the National Indian Gaming Commission, the Chitimacha tribe in Louisiana, and they're on the very southern part of Louisiana, and they're just kind of boundaried by marshland. I mean, without the highway system, you'd struggle to get out of there.
Yeah.
And their last language speaker died in the 40s, the 1940s, and their language wasn't related to any of the Muskogean speakers that are around them. Their language is most connected to like Mesoamerica area.
Yeah.
So they were able to get these Smithsonian wax cylinders back and re-implement the language back into their nation and in their culture. And they have a tribal school, and everyone in there is speaking their language, and it's just
beautiful.
Incredible story. And reinvigorating cultural practices, so that, because the one thing about, if you're a monolingual speaker like me, where I only know one language, I know a few words here and there of other things, but I can't say I have a second language. But when you know your language, you think different, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Your worldview is based on the place where that language originated, right? It is so important and connects us with the land that we were meant to protect. It's all part of a wisdom that is beyond all of us, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
So you've been able to kind of relearn Blackfeet?
Yeah, slowly. And I have a friend, Robert Hall, who's Blackfeet, and he's a language scholar. I believe he works at the Blackfeet Community College as the head of their language program. But he's been helping me, and he gave me lessons. But these are lessons like I would be in class with young children. I mean, he started me from the basics, and what I feel so proud about. I can't really speak well, but I understand the structure of the language now with the way he's been working with me, and the sounds, because I'm musical, so I learn in that way, and I can put different words together and hear certain things and start to say it's a process. But I want to be able to go. I'm actually going to go and study with the kids, the next summer I can, and just do private lessons with him, but also try to be in class with them. And I could do some acting workshops with them and stuff, but work in that way with them, and then also take class. But that's it's a big goal of mine, and I love it. It's beautiful, and Robert is really helping me, and he's so there. Daryl always said everyone can be a supporter of the language. Everyone can, of the Blackfeet language. And Robert, when I asked him for help, I was like, "Yo, man, I can help. Please let me pay you for your time for some of the help you're giving me." And he's like, "Man, this is a gift to be able to represent the language, and I don't want to take money for that. I wanna just do it because we need to preserve this, and I wouldn't take money for something like that." So he's just a really honorable example of being a leader in preserving languages, and grateful to him and all my Blackfeet friends and family have been helping me out along this journey.
Yeah.
Roy, have you tried to learn Caddo at all?
I know very few words. So our last language keeper, my cousin Michael's uncle, he passed away about 5 years ago. But they put together a program, language classes. So he was teaching these language classes, and of course they recorded and documented everything. And he actually knew 3 different dialects of Caddo.
Wow.
And they extracted, I guess, for lack of better terms, every single dialect and wrote 3 different books. And they have 3 different lessons, 3 different classes now that they teach there. I think they teach them in Oklahoma now at the community center, because we don't have a reservation. We land allotments down there in Oklahoma. So. Yeah, he was the last, and now there's a whole group of people that they have a regular like club, like a group that they all go and speak. They sent me the books, so I have some of the books.
Great.
But we with the kids we pass around a few words on a regular basis. We use it around the house and stuff. But
cool.
But no, I would really love to have the time and the, I guess, the energy and motivation to actually sit down and start to learn. It's hard being an old dog. It's hard. So hard.
Even like a word a day,
You're right.
I finally have words that are just popping in my head, like a bunny, butterfly. I was just the other day, just popped into my head, and then inmita, dog, different things. I say nixie. Okay, Nixikoax, that's hello, my relatives, and I always introduce myself that way. And my friend Robert, he's like, the more respect you have for someone, you go, oh, okay. You hold it out, and if it's a quick one, okay. It's like, oh, you're in trouble. Maybe not my best friend, but it's just different thing. And when I'm there, it's just like it opens up even more. When I'm there, and I look forward to going back. It's been a long time since
I love that about Native communities. Like whenever I've been invited, or I've gone down to Navajo land, or I've been back home, or been on any reservation for that matter. It's because like last week our guest was like, she has a slang YouTube that she did that got really popular. It was res slang.
Yeah.
And that being mixed in with the language, you feel that, you when you're down there, when you're working with those people and you're just part of the community, and they start doing those things like the okay, and all that kind of stuff, it's just, it's a different feel, and you get to feel the culture through that language and through that slang,
Yeah.
and it's the same, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's the same, but it's different, and you get the same feelings when you go there and you're part of it. But of course, it's always a different language, a different inflection of a different word or something. But I love that when I get to go and hang out with the Native community.
Yeah. Oh man, I know. Me too.
Well, the word I'm thinking of right now is a fuck.
What's that?
It means turkey in Choctaw.
Oh, God, of course.
It's one of the words that I know.
Just like the place around, my favorite Thai food place is Fuck It Thai over here at in Huntington Beach. That big sign that says Fuck It Thai.
But this conversation that we're having right now, it is a really important conversation, because a lot of people are scared to talk about what they don't know about their people. And we live in even in Indian country, we live in groups that tend to separate one another, because we were trained well by our colonizer, I guess, and but we got to take responsibility for it. Like, not all of us have had the beauty and have been able to keep those
So
things.
so I hear exactly what you're saying. Here's the sad part is that I'm sitting here, listening to Sean, and he's talking about, the language keepers and people teaching the language, and then I comment on how important it is, right? How important language is to our culture because we won't exist. And yet I sit here and I am one that doesn't know my own language in order to I can't communicate. I know enough words that I can, understand some of the things they're saying, but I don't know enough about it to actually speak it and pass on and continue the language, to keep it in existence. So I can sit here and talk about how important it is, but what am I doing to preserve it? That's profound. And I feel empty inside sometimes when I even talk about it because I go, man, why am I not putting more effort into learning and teaching my children? I've passed other things on to my children, the bundles that were passed to us and the caretaking of those and things, I've passed those along. But what am I doing to keep my culture, my language? That's the most important thing. And I haven't introduced that into my family enough, other than a few words that we play with, on a daily basis, type of thing. So
well, you are doing so much though, and we all are in our own fields. I think it is important, but Daryl once told me, because I was very impatient when I want to soak up everything, and I was very. Yeah, and I was like, I got to learn this, and when are we going to go over here? When are we going to meet with this group? And I want to go into this ceremony. I think I'm ready. And he was like, you got to slow down. And he's like, it's going to happen when it happens. Don't try to. He said I was the same way when I was your age, but you got to. But it's like, it'll happen in time. And even us having this conversation, every year I look at myself and I'm like, I didn't learn enough. I haven't learned enough of the language. I haven't gone back. But I know so much more than I did 5 years ago, and in our complicated lives and what we have to hold up, yeah.
You know what I found, Sean? It was like the same for me when I was younger. I had all this energy and this zeal. When I finally, I for lack of a better term, pulled my head out of my ass when I was a young man, and started to embrace my culture and my spirituality and who I was, and not being ashamed of it anymore. Had a lot to do with, not only, not being Indian was the kind of the way that my family was operating, because they were ashamed of it, and like my father was in prison and all those kinds of things, and he's just a drunk Indian and troublemaker, but when I was full of that same fire, and when I stopped and sat back and listened, and my mentor told me, hey, be silent, be still, and the universe is obligated to answer you at that point. And that's what happened. And before I knew it, I was being embraced into all of these different, like you said, the groups and the ceremonies, and they were all just falling. Everything was just falling in my lap at that point, when I finally let go and just kind of sat back and listened and was silent. And instead of trying to pursue it and trying to get people, yeah, come on, tell me this and tell me that, and I want to know this. But the more and more I backed off, and the more and more I just sat silent, the more and more was poured onto me.
Yeah.
And I think if we let go a little, this is what I had to do, because I was angry. I would let my grandmother know why, and she would tell me stories that she would go into rooms with the adults and they would stop speaking Choctaw, because her mother went to boarding school. There were reasons why. And it's like, and why didn't you marry another Choctaw? Like, why is this, like, these are the things that I want to put back. Why can't I put these back? And at some point in my life, I had to let go of the anger and understand what my path was going to be to help support what my grandmother, basically taught me to support. You go and you help your people. That's who you're obligated to.
Shannon's always been like that, though. She used to tell me, "Why are you always going out with white girls?"
I know he always had a thing for blonde. I don't know what it is. You know, I should have got him an Indian woman and dyed her hair. You know,
you were throwing them at me left and right all the time. I couldn't even show up at some place without you going, "Hey, check her out. She wants to talk to you."
Didn't work.
Like, whoa.
But this conversation is actually making me think of a transition to your song, the Hold On song.
Yeah.
So what is the story and the context? What comes before that song? Because I'd like to play it if I can. If you don't,
that would be wonderful. Yeah. Well, you know, it's it's sung by Dorothy, who is trying to show Daryl, like, hey, remember when we were kids? Remember when we used to run around during Indian days? You know, the big tribal powwow every summer, and we would like all the different, like the stick games and all the just different games we would play, and or just like hanging out with our friends, being on the land, grass dancing, how much fun that was, and how it made us who we are, and trying to just say, hold on to that, Daryl. You know, remember that, because it will change how you see the world and the decisions you make, which will impact not only your life, but all of our lives. And that's what Hold On is about. You know, even living in a modern world, even if you're someone like me, you know, super mixed, always kind of feeling like I have one foot in, one foot out, a little bit of an outsider, a little bit of an insider, in who I am, but and being far away, holding on to what connects me to that place. And that's this musical always brings me back and reminds me and helps me remember where I feel most grounded in Brown and Montana, even when I get distracted. And so that's what this song is really about. Yeah.
I think that when we talk about all of the issues here on the show, I think that the general theme of most people is that feeling of one foot in, one foot out. It's just like it's the human experience, period, end of story. You know?
Yeah.
You're struggling with identity and all these other things that are going on all the time, and life is coming at you from all these different angles, and we just feel like we've got one foot in and one foot out, you know, and it's just a human experience, really.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's why I hope people connect with it, you know, because so many of us go through that. Yeah.
So we played this when you were on the show before. So just to let people know, but
I know. I hope we can make another one, but we'll
make
another video soon.
Everyone was so happy that we played it. It almost kind of inspired us to keep, you know.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Remember? Because we were on the show, we played that song, and that's how we were going to end the show. But then it energized us all, and we just kept going. So I'm gonna share this and play. Let me get it all going here. Okay, are y'all ready?
Ready.
Here we go. Let me know if you can't hear it.
Hello, this is Michael Barron, producing artistic director of Lyric Theater of Oklahoma, and I'm in front of the set of Distant Thunder, the world premiere Native American musical. Our rehearsals were cut short due to the pandemic, but we are so excited to welcome back the Distant Thunder family next spring, 2021, for this very special musical. But for now, enjoy this special musical preview the cast has put together.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, Nixie Coax. Hello, our relatives.
I'm Lynn TAYLOR-CORBETT.
And I'm Shaun TAYLOR-CORBETT.
We are the writers of Distant Thunder, along with Chris Wiseman. During this time of terrible upheaval in our society, we reached out to our cast members, both past and present, and asked them to present this song for you. It's Hold On, written by SHAUN and Chris Wiseman.
We hope the indigenous message of our show brings light and love to all of you. While we strive for justice and giving voice to the voiceless, we hold on to the collective humanity that binds us all.
When we ran through the camps, a smile on your face, you knew where to go. All right. From the shade in the stands to Medicine River you knew. Down the road past the gym, up the hill to the school, you never let up till the end of the day. Like the moon chasing sun, I tried to catch up, but I fell. I'd put my hands on my hips and yell, hold on, 'cause I'm running out of breath. Hold on, 'cause I need to take a rest. Go on, you'll soon be way out of my sight. I held on to the memory that night. Then we ran past the stalls with the food and the game. I'd always get lost in the crowd. When I found you again, you'd say, try catch me if you can. You held fried bread in both your hands. Hold on, can you eat all of that? Hold on, you're making me so upset. So long, I'll leave 'cause I don't wanna fight. I held on to the memory that night.
It's like we had wings and we could fly away. I wonder who I would be if I had stayed. Oh, yeah. Since I've been gone, so much has changed, and I'm sure there's still so much change I have left to endure. If I can hold on, I know hope will find me tonight.
During Indian days, voices would sing. I still hear the beat of the drums. We were lost in the dance, and I felt the love of this land. And I know that you understand. Hold on to memories forgot about. Hold on to time that is running out. Go on, and please try to do what is right. Let's hold on to the memories tonight.
Let's hold on to the memories tonight.
Let's hold on to the memories tonight.
I hold on to the memories tonight.
Let's hold on to the memories tonight. We'll hold on to the memories tonight.
Nice.
All right.
Hold on,
She's a little star.
hold on. So long.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's gonna be in the show. Yay.
Second Fox. Osage.
Yay, thank you so much.
That's awesome. All right, how do I stop
There you
this? Wow. I was starting to get emotional, Shaun, because growing up, we never got to see our people in areas. We just were invisible.
Yeah.
We're invisible in the theater. Invisible in movies, unless, I was watching some kind of John Wayne movie with my grandpa or something.
yeah, they were falling off horses and shit. Yeah. That was the only time you ever saw an Indian, or if the Italian Mr. Cody was on TV crying or something.
Right. So I mean, it's so special what you're doing, and I can hear another voice in my head saying, "Well, that's not Indian. That's not Indian doing theater." But we, just like our culture has been taken away and misappropriated, we can, we're damn good at doing the same. We can take those other instruments and tell our story.
Well, we have
just as well as anybody else.
I know it's funny. Matoka, an actress who's in the video, Little Eagle, she when she first started hearing us singing the musical theater style in the show, she was like, "That's too musical theater. What are you doing? What are you doing? That's not native. Stop doing that." And we had to be like, "Well, you're right. We're trying to blend the styles." So, and then after a while, she was like, "I love doing singing it like this. This is awesome," So she's a really incredible singer as well. But it was blending these styles together. Like we have the Florendo family, Brent Florendo and his daughter Hava, who are Wasco, Warm Springs, Klamath, and Wasco, and they shared some of their family songs with us, and they're actually we're singing some of their family songs in the show.
Wow.
And sometimes we break out and you just hear their songs, just hear that beautiful music, and I sing it too with them. And on the drum, they taught me how to sing their songs on the drum.
I saw you on the drum.
Yeah,
I was watching you. I was watching you.
I love it. I love it so much. I mean, I could sing high, but there's another. I'm learning how to really sing high.
Oh, it's a whole other. It's that northern thing, man.
The northern thing.
Yeah.
They sing. He's Pacific Northwest. It's just like.
Yeah.
But so I'm trying to learn. I have the Frankie Valli high pitch, but it's not the same thing.
You got to get that squawk. Man. It's a squawk.
I have one. I have one time in me, and then I blow my voice out, and then it's like, all right, I need to learn how to do this better. But then we have just a pop song sometimes, and then but then we bust out into some cool grass dancing and chicken dancing. And
I saw that. Are you a grass dancer?
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay. I saw you trying to get down. I saw you getting down on that.
I'm not,
I was going to ask you that.
I'm getting there. It's been a process. I mean, we are in training for this musical. We had the Thunderbird dancers in New York giving us lessons. I had Sean Snyder and another competition dancer come to Oklahoma, and they were teaching us and giving us lessons. And some people are better than others, but it's like everyone in the show is on a different journey with their identity or with what they can offer. Carolyn Dunn is a part of the show, big Oklahoma actress. She wrote Fry Bread Queen, big writer.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool conglomeration of people.
So do you think this is going to happen in Oklahoma in 2021?
Yeah, we do. And we were talking about doing a concert version because, but with more positive thoughts and vaccine possibilities, they're thinking maybe fall, hopefully. But we're not, I'm going to leave that up to the theater, but I don't want to overstep, but I'm hoping in the fall,
they've got
we're going in April. Yes.
They say, look, March 31st.
No, I know. I think that's probably going to change because if we do a full production, they want to make sure everyone's safe and have it in the Plaza Theater. So,
well, it looks like a lot could happen.
Yeah.
In a real quick time here.
Yeah.
It seems like.
I know.
It's interesting. You were talking about, the songs and the cultural songs being introduced. And my cousin, who I just spoke about a minute ago, who his father was the last speaker of the language, true speaker of the language, who understood it really well. There's a lot of speakers of the language now because of his teachings. But my cousin, he's a singer, and he what he had done was he was influenced at a young age, and he learned all of the ceremonial songs, the dance songs that we cultural dances are like in our culture. They go all night long. We have the turkey dances, like our main dance that goes from morning and night the next day, and we just party and it's a big powwow for like 2 days. But there's another cultural dance that is to honor the women, and it's called women dance songs. And he took those songs, which they're beautiful songs, and he took those songs and turned them into a modern type of musical, and
really?
Recorded it. And just he's amazing, and his voice is amazing. He just did a phenomenal job on it. And this is back in the day when like cassette tapes out the back, not 8 tracks, but cassette tapes out the back of your trunk.
Yeah,
he recorded it in a home studio and then put it out that way. And he was literally at the powwows. He'd sell a $10 tape here and there out the back of his trunk. But it was amazing that he was able to do that. And this was done. This was 25 years ago when he was doing that.
Yeah,
so
that is amazing.
It's I like the fact that culturally they're taking some of these old songs and of course keeping them original, but also putting a twist on them and making musicals and things like that, and adding the dance and the drum and all of those other things to it.
I really love those TV shows where they break out into song in the middle of something, like there was something about Bad Girlfriend, that there was some series on, and they would just break out into musical numbers. I'd love to see Indians do that.
Well, you know what? I know. Hey, that's why we created a film version.
Oh, did you?
Yes, and we want to have like a once style raw type of film where someone will be, just like in the musical, we'll be having a scene, and then someone will just start slowly singing, and it'll build to either a small, just cool raw song, or maybe like 1 or 2 big production numbers where you have a powwow, and then you cut over to like folks singing over here, and so we have a whole variety of ways we present Distant Thunder, and that's. So the first
out of the back of the trucks at a 49 on the side of the road, baby. That's where it should be.
That's it. Yes.
Little bit of everywhere.
Just turn on the back of they're all hanging out the back of the truck. They just flip it over. There's the drum right there, and boom, boom.
Oh, I love that. You're giving me an idea for a scene and how we could shoot it.
Yeah, man. Right off, they all just pull. They're driving down the road. They all just pull off to the side of the road and say, "Fuck it, man, let's party."
Yes. Yeah, there's so many things you can do. I love that. I just love blending styles, and you push the boundaries, and some people like it. Some people have challenges with it, but got to try, because there's no rule book in how you make this type of theater.
You're always going to run into the resistance. You're always going to run into the resistance. Right. Someone's going to want to cut your head off.
Oh, believe me, I stressed so much. I invited so many people to come see the show, and I was like, "Oh God, what am I gonna do?" I'm like, I'm either gonna die or make it through this.
I've always thought or used the ask for forgiveness, not for permission.
Yes. Oh. Daryl used to say that too. He's like, "Sean, you got to just go for it, man.
Just go for it, bro.
I'll try to protect you as much as I can." But
and there comes a point when I run, you better run too. Oh man,
that's so true.
So Sean, what do you see as the most difficult issues of our time right now in Indian country, or with your nation in particular? Is it language, or are there other issues?
I think language is a big deal. Is one of the biggest. But one thing I'm really curious about, and it has to do with the other half of the show, identity. What we've been talking about, everything we've been talking about is in the show. All of my different fears and things I've learned or grown from. And I think with the Blackfeet, it's very interesting because even I can't speak up for other people, but there are some folks who are very knowledgeable who are language keepers, but they don't have tribal membership. And I think the discussion of a big discussion is how do we maintain the integrity and sovereignty of our identities and preserving that and having like a standard of protecting that, unfortunately using sometimes colonial ways to do that while also not continuing the process that colonization began, and cutting off people and creating a diaspora in a way so that eventually
it's a big issue.
We lose people.
Yeah.
And it's that's the hard question, and I don't know the answer because I fall outside of that realm in a way, in terms of I'm not a tribal card-carrying member. I'm also very respectful in my experiences and sharing that with getting to know people in the Blackfeet community continuously, and also playing native roles, and it's complicated. It's a complicated issue, but I think one we have to discuss and also have a good energy around it and how we discuss it, and not cutting people off, and not understanding the pain why people have certain extreme views, but not necessarily letting that pain dictate the environment within which we have the discussion. So I think that those are, and there's so many issues, there's so many things we can talk about, but I focus on those because of identity is big to me and language is big to me. So
because the issue you just spoke of is important, just as important, because what it's done is it's stifled growth of these communities. And if one of the other things, like you say, colonization has seeped into everything. Losing the language is one thing, but losing membership and losing community and losing the numbers of members of that community are also part of it. How are you going to keep the language if you don't have the people there to keep the language and to keep the culture? And the exclusion of those people is not what community is about, and it's not what we are about. We were about inclusion, not exclusion. And unless somebody becomes offensive to that community, then why would you not let them in? And that's what I was always taught by my elder, was that community is inclusive until that person becomes offensive to that community. And until then, you always include people. You always want to bring people into your community and help them and let them be part of it and let them share who they are with it. And then in turn sharing your community with them. And of course, there's always the Indian way, which is, hey, we're going to watch your ass for 5 years or more, boy, before you get it called to anything.
Well, you got both of those things, right? It's
don't forget that exists, because
but we're watching.
You come in, the elders are watching your ass. You ain't just jumping right in. You're on probation, bitch.
So I know that feeling.
So but it's done in a good way. It's always been done in a good way.
I think it's in a good way, and it's smart, and you have to earn that respect and walk. You have to walk a certain way. You can't just say things. You have to, and people see your behavior, and they're like, okay, after a long period of time. So
right.
Exactly.
There ain't no letters by your name. There ain't none of that is going to get you any respect.
Yeah.
In fact, that may decrease.
That might mess your chances up. You might be on that other list.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. No, I'm really happy though. It's with my friendships there as well, the new friendships too, because it took time, and I was sometimes hurt when people don't want to
open up.
Don't you see what I'm doing? Isn't it awesome? And they're like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's just calm down. And then, but then after time, it's all worked out. It's all working out. It's all happening for a reason, and there's a spiritual element to it. And I feel really happy with my journey and with my friends
That's
and family
cool.
there, and being a part of the conversation, just getting to be a part of this conversation.
Yeah. I had an experience like that once too, where I was overzealous and I wanted to be a part of a community, and I was actually part of the community, but I was that, I was that sit back there in the back and just be quiet, boy. And I had that same conversation with, it was actually Russell Means, and he bitch slapped me, and and we got into a fight about it, and it blew over, but I know that feeling, because he and I had it out about my zealousness, and like, sit back, boy, and chill.
Yeah.
You need to check yourself, and but it smoothed over. Everything was cool, and I'm part of the community still, and but I remember that feeling like, no, man, don't you see what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
You think you're the only badass in town? Come on, man, put me in, coach, put me in.
Yeah.
And it's like, bitch.
Yeah.
But it was all good. It builds care. That stuff builds character and patience, and the need to go, I ain't gonna run into that damn fire again.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what's next for you, Shaun? What are you gonna do some more
He's
writing?
got a show to do next year. What are you talking about? That man's gonna be busy.
Yeah, I gotta. We have to get all the music in order. Every time we do a reading or anything, we're like, all right, now we're gonna remember all the changes we made. We're gonna put it into the music. We're all gonna know where it is. We're like, yeah, we're gonna do it. And then we'll do it next week. And then before you know, we're like, we can't remember what we did last time. We have to start all, so we got to do that again.
Are you all casted out already?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
so you're ready to go. You just
yeah,
throw
we're ready
it in
to
there.
go. We're ready for the green light. We have so many people in the cast. Not so many people. But we have a large pool of talent over the years that has come to us. We're so lucky, and we have actors in Oklahoma that we're using in the show. Someone just out of university, actors from New York, actors from California, from Oregon, and every time we do this, we have to fly them all in. And my mom and I have co-produced this show a few times, and it ain't cheap. But
I set you up with my cousin Michael out there, Michael
Yeah?
Edmonds. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He is quite the talent out there.
Okay, I'd love to meet him.
He was in here in Hollywood with us for a long time, and
Oh, great.
and him and Saginaw and
Yeah.
Steve, rest in peace, Steve.
I know Saginaw.
Oh, you know Saggy?
Not well, but
I know Saginaw.
I know Saggy well.
I don't even want it. That's probably
we used to hang.
Oh, really?
what that is. That's
I know the other side of Saggy.
So Lance asked a wonderful question. How do we develop more Native American arts in the mainstream?
That's a great question. I think it's happening now. This last year has been it's so many things that I've been wanting for Native people in the arts. So many things that many others have wanted. All of a sudden, access and opportunities are slowly opening up because of the trauma that we've been through in the last year and a half. Strong voices in different indigenous communities, communities of people of color, demanding to have a seat at the table. Places like Oregon Shakespeare Festival, they just had a writers group seminar, and we're asking, how can we best serve Native authors? And not just saying, we invite you in, and here is the process by which you have to work. It's saying, what is the process that would be best suited for you? You tell us. Broadway for Biden invited, Delana Studi and Kalani Kwepo, Delana to speak, and then Kalani to perform and showcase his native musical. And it was for hundreds of thousands of people, And it was the first time, because I've been a Broadway kid. I've been in this community for a long time in New York. It was the first time I heard land acknowledgments by the Broadway community, the first time
Wow.
I heard Cherokee spoken. Delana spoke Cherokee, and then a native pop musical that wasn't just like, well, my friend Brent Florinda says drums and feathers, which is part of who we are too, but that's not the only thing. You know, when people ask for a native performance, we can do a lot of things, and so that's that stuff like that, and having Lyric Theater of Oklahoma produce our musical. But I think the big I want the big time stuff for us too. I want a Broadway musical. I want a native Broadway musical. You know, writers like Mary Catherine Nagel are getting huge exposure. Mannahatta is a wonderful play.
Yeah.
It was at Yale Rep, you know? Now, there's another show called Between Two Knees by the 1491s that I'm in. We were slated to be at Yale Rep, and then COVID happened. So I'm hoping next year we go there. It's little inroads like that, getting a seat at the table. And, I mean, look at all the great reservation dogs, Sterling Harjo. Sterling Harjo wrote. I mean, that's incredible. You have, what's the other show? My friend Bobby Wilson writes on. It's coming out on the Peacock Network. You know, I mean, little things like that are, not little things, big things like that are happening. Isn't there there's another show coming out on NBC, I think, like a native family drama?
All I know is that everyone's up in arms with the Big Sky right now.
I know. I read your article about that, or the article you posted about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that was going on, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, it's another, you know, and for money reasons, for whatever reasons, people think they know how to represent Native people, and they don't do their homework. So,
I know. There's a great project coming out that I can't talk much about now, but I will soon. But it's going to really change a lot for representation, Native representation. For young kids. So when I can talk more about it, I will. But it's going to be, it's all happening. My point is, Lance asked that, right? Did Lance ask that?
Yeah.
Lance asks everything. Lance is always
good.
our go-to question guy, man. He just drops the bombs all the time in there.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, Lance.
And there's a tribal film enterprise called Kalispell Films.
Yeah.
That is making. It's part of Kalispell's economic development, and they're making just regular mainstream films. And I think they're trying to get into producing, now that they're actually making income from film production and distribution, to make potentially Native films, which would be really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Have y'all seen this? First Nations experience? I saw that in California.
I met someone from that organization, but I haven't seen their work.
It's Canadian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to you know, when you're ready to talk about it, hearing.
I know. I can't wait to tell you. It's one of those things of like pain of death, you know, even talking about it this much, but I'm so excited about it. There's a musical element to it. There's language representation, there's cultural representation, but it's done in a very entertaining, cool way, you know, like a very mainstream cool, and it's all run Native led. So it's kind of telling Native things. I can't talk too much about it, but it's like it's not like it's run by, it's a Native led initiative that's going to open up doors and just like kind of influence young kids at an early age.
Promise us to come on when it's ready to go, so you can come in and talk about it.
I can't wait to talk
Whoever
about
else needs to come on to talk about it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I will do that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, the association is in the process of developing this National Native Youth Camp structure and curriculum, and part of that is pathways to different careers. And we want art, we want journalism, we want law, we want everything to be part of that that national camp. So we'll have to talk some more, Shaun.
I would love to be a part of that. Yeah. My mom was telling me more about that too. And I've been getting a lot of great experience working with young kids in educational aspects. I worked with Conaway Nakatilicum, my friend Brent Florindo's youth camp, and had the best time. And it's so great and what we can do with this platform. So yeah, tell me more about it. I want to get involved.
Excellent. All right, you're on the hook.
All right. You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it here first.
Hey, Roy, you got a powwow song to sing? Roy's a gourd dancer, and you know, Roy, we need to not only get you to do a TikTok video, but we need to get you back with
back on the powwow circuit. Is that what you're saying? Get me back on the powwow circuit.
Yeah, I'd just like to you know, I was trying to find Roy a job in Indian country, but it didn't pan out.
Yeah, so I've got a really good job.
You have a very good job.
I'm really like, so this weekend I've been doing this. I have to do a CapEx report, so it's like a big deal.
Now, what's a CapEx report? Not everybody knows what a CapEx report is.
Capital expenditure report.
Okay.
So I've got to build a whole division from scratch.
Okay.
So they hired me to come in and build this whole division, hire all the people, put all the infrastructure together. It's a year-long project. So I'm literally like putting a PowerPoint presentation together, and I was trying to explain to the board and to the executive staff and the owners what this my being a visionary and being the person with all the knowledge on how to do this, and them being it's a very big corporation. It's a corporation that, you know, moves very slow, but they're very big in the industry, and how we're going to meet and go compete with all. I told them that there was blood in the water, and that the sharks of all of our competitors they're in disarray right now. And he said, "That's what I want. I want to hear about the sharks and put that in a PowerPoint." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" So I was literally like digging into books and looking at, you know, and trying to meditate on it and look at native stories. And there's a Northwestern story about how the orca came about, and there's a lot of different versions of it, but it's basically about a sea hawk and a black whale. And they kind of fall in love with each other and their both of their abilities to do different things, and they decide to meet, and the whale jumps from the water and the hawk comes down, and they meet, and when they collide and become one, they create the orca. And the orca is really the agile king of the sea, you know, stronger than the shark, faster than the shark. But as big and powerful as whales, but has more agility. So I put that all in a PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to tell this story in front of this executive board, and yeah, so I'm going to use my nativeness.
That's really cool, actually.
With this, I don't know how it's going to go over. They might go, "Okay, get that guy out of here," but I'm going to do it anyway. I was talking to Shannon about it. She's like, "No, that sounds good."
Yeah, where's your territorial acknowledgement at the beginning, eh?
I know. I don't even. I heard that the story had come from a couple of different tribes. You know, so it wasn't necessarily just one tribe that the story came from. So I'm just kind of like pulling a piece of it out. So anyway,
that's very cool. Yeah, I mean that's who we are, right? And we should be able to share it.
Because I was having a hard time with it. You know, I was like, how am I going to explain this to these guys and what's going on here? And, you know, PowerPoint and just like writer's block. But then I said, you know, I'm going to meditate for a minute and look at some stories and really just, you know, kind of chill, you know, just sit back and just like I said, the universe answered, you know, here's your answer, boy.
That's cool, man. Bringing who you are into that world. And not denying it, but making it a part of it is really cool, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So Sean, I was looking at your Instagram here. Here, let me pull it up. I hope
you're gonna pull something off of the man's Instagram and put it on.
No.
Dang, girl.
Darn, I didn't even talk about all my audiobooks.
Yeah, like this is like I've got to hear these audiobooks, and the only good Indians.
The only good Indians. Yeah, Stephen Graham Jones. He is an amazing writer, and it just won Audible's Best of Mysteries and Thrillers for 2020 award.
Wow. That's cool. I love Audible. I love it because I'm just not a reader. I start reading and I fall asleep. I don't know what it is. I start reading and I'm just kind of throw the book down and I fall asleep. But audiobooks, man, I do so much driving out here in LA and whatnot that, man, audiobooks are awesome. I get in a car and 45 minutes goes by and I, heard, most of a book. And I know. It's just awesome.
Yeah. And it filters in, even if you're multitasking, you still almost like live in the story. Yeah, that's another song. Cool little song I did. I don't know how to hear it, but, yeah, it's my Instagram is a whole mix of songs and social justice things and, performances. Oh yeah, there's me, my grass dance regalia I was gonna wear for my show.
There you are.
Yeah.
Get you.
First time, man. First time I was gonna dance in front of everyone on stage. So I was getting excited, and then I'll get back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff. I have a whole CrossFit life that I live.
Oh yeah.
Nice. So you already came out into the arena then. You're out. You're grass dancer.
Well, you know what? I haven't competed yet, and I'm almost there. But it's a big thing. You
gotta have your giveaway. You gotta get down, man. You gotta get down.
I know, and I have
it's a big commitment.
I have this image of how I'm gonna be, but then I'm like, let me just be humble again because it's so hard. It's not. It's like the representation and the pride, why I'm dancing, who I'm dancing for, and also the skill of it and the technical skill mixed with what's going on inside and hearing the drum and letting it take you. It's a deep thing that it's all coming together, but I got to get out there. That's what I was going to do last year. So when COVID's over, it's going to be time.
Ooh, what is this? Dear White American Theater.
Oh yeah, that is basically, Black, Indigenous, people of color, BIPOC artists approaching the theater community that for a long time has mostly been run by white producers and white artistic staff and creators, and just saying, hey, it's our time to be invited to the table to decide what is produced, not just the token one show a season, but being all part of your organization. And just there's I don't know all the statistics, but something on Broadway, the percentages are just crazy on what is produced and the amount of roles available to white actors versus BIPOC actors.
That was something that really surprised me when I was in acting school, and I was part of the Sanford Meisner School at Playhouse West. The amount of white conservatism that's in the
sorry.
you think of you think of liberal Hollywood, right? But then when you really get in the behind the scenes schools and whatnot, there's so much white conservatism in those schools.
Oh yeah, I know.
I was really they literally took us like one of our like it was like a or what do you call that when you go out, a field trip? It was a field trip. Yeah. And they took us to go see Charlton Heston do this anti.
Oh no.
He did a speech for the NRA.
Yeah.
It was like anti-liberalism and anti-union. They literally took us to a talk to get rid of the SAG-AFTRA guilds.
What?
And it was hosted by Charlton Heston. And I was sitting there, I'm like, oh, I get to meet Charlton Heston. This is cool, And I'm like, literally, I'm sitting there with Uma Thurman and some of the other people from that school that were, did really, really well. And there's Charlton Heston, talking about destroying the SAG unit. and I'm like, this is just too weird for me. I thought Hollywood was this liberal, bastion of, and no, behind the scenes, there was just so much of that white conservatism,
Yeah, I didn't realize it either, and studying roles and everything, you look at to find material for monologues and everything, and I realized, I'm drawing from all these writers, amazing writers, but they're all one perspective, or the American perspective, what it's like to be a middle class or lower class white male. And those were like, the plays were all centered around that. And I was like, let me do that monologue. And people kept saying, you sure you want to do that monologue? I'm like, yeah, why? What? So it's having the opportunities to have our plays produced for our voices, so that our actors can have their voices represented in scripts, and then having the theaters that will produce those plays, and then not having the fear that the audiences won't like that because they're mostly white, and then having audience outreach and going into communities and getting audiences, communities that traditionally don't come to Western theater, getting them to come to see so it's a whole movement to develop that, and then put big money behind it, and not have the white savior stories and only, and that's
whole Indian cast, but one white guy gonna save the whole tribe.
Yeah,
at the end.
So that's the work, and that's that letter is like kind of like, whoa, it put people on blast, and some artistic directors were hurt by it, and some theaters were like, we've got to change everything, and some people, I have friends who are white, and they were felt horrible about it, and theater producers. But then, we have to do that. We have to have a shift in how we produce theater, or just projects in general, in movies and TV. Yeah,
it's in everything.
But it's happening now. It is happening. There's a movement. There's an interest in it, and Distant Thunder's right here, baby. No.
Nice.
I can't wait, man.
I can't wait. Can't wait till we're promoting it on a regular basis.
I know. Like this. What's the next? What's the next nation we're going to? What's the next area we're going to? And we'll say, hey, don't forget to come out if you're in Montana, or
So is this going to be a tour, or is it just a one time? We're going to go to Oklahoma, do this, or are you guys going to tour?
Well, we want to make it a tour. We're talking before the pandemic. We were talking to Seattle rep, and they were really supportive. A bunch of people there. I want Montana rep, and Missoula. I wanted to bring it there.
Cali.
I know. Yeah, bringing it around Cali, of course.
There's theater in California?
Yes, it's great theater.
There's great theater. What you talking about, girl? What you talking about?
But we've been talking to one of our actors is Seminole, and we've been talking to actually we're doing the show hopefully maybe in Atlantic City at the Hard Rock.
Yeah. And
then from the Hard Rock,
maybe there'll be a deal at Trump's place.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. maybe it gets repossessed, by another tribe, and they can do it there. I don't know.
When they got to pay for his bail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He probably whatever.
Yeah.
That guy.
We haven't even talked about him in a while.
We haven't. It's really insignificant, but it's really funny to watch. It really, really is funny to watch. I just can't believe that there's actually people out in the streets willing to trade blows and put blood on the street for that clown. He's a freaking clown. I've never seen anything so clownish in my life. It's seriously the National Enquirer has been opened up as the front page of our news today. It's just
yeah, I know. We never imagined we'd be here. Or all the, there's this wealthy Republican donor who wants his money back for all these bogus legal things he's been doing. He's like, I want my $2.5 million back.
Well, he's like, he got like 200 million, right? Didn't he like gather 200 million for his like his defense fund? And they're like throwing cases at these judges, and they're like, dude, this isn't a case. What are you doing? Get out of here.
Like, you need actual evidence, you know?
Oh my God. And I swear, I thought I was watching a Saturday Night Live skit when that gal was up there talking with Rudy Giuliani on the TV. I was like, is that real? I'm like, is that for real? Or is that girl? First I heard it. It's like, there's somebody drunk on TV talking to a committee. Really? And I'm like, listening, and this girl's like, like totally sound like she was drunk. And I'm like, I go and I watch, and she's like clown face. It's like, oh my God. And then I sat there and watched it. And even Rudy was like, oh, no, shh. Oh, yeah. Stop. Okay. Chill, bitch. Chill. When you got that crazy dude freaking telling you to shut up, you've crossed the line. Oh my God.
No, I know. I couldn't pull myself away from watching that either.
Trump is Custer, another musical.
Thanks for these comments.
Wow, that would be great.
Yeah,
that would be a great musical.
Wow. Trump is Custer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
but I don't he doesn't have the I don't know, maybe.
We would probably get some wrong crowd coming to that show too, though. Like, what? Trump is Custer? All right, let's go. Yeah.
Yeah.
See him. You know, let's kill those Indians.
Behind that production.
Oh man.
That's the Custer's Last Stand. I want my whole back tattooed in Custer's Last Stand. That's what I want. I don't know why I said that, but it's like a dream I've always had. I want the whole thing on my back. But instead of him being killed by the Indians, I want him, like, his last moments, he's, offing himself. Like, it's all over. They're coming after him, and he just offs himself.
Yeah.
I did hear that they say that that's probably what happened.
Really?
Yeah, I think that there's actually evidence that shows that that's what happened, that he finally just ended it himself because it was over with.
Yeah.
So.
Man. I know I don't have tattoos, but I've been thinking of all sorts of things, and I was, at some point I might get Distant Thunder tattooed across my back.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you looked off to the side. Somebody was watching you going, you ain't putting nothing on your body.
No, it's funny. Yeah, no one, my dad, he does not. He's like, don't get tattooed. It's gonna poison. I'm like, Dad, they know how to do it now, so you don't get ink poisoning. No, I want to do that. All the shows I've ever done, just get them tattooed all over the place. But it's also because CrossFit. When you do CrossFit and you have tattoos, it just looks really cool. Yeah. So when I'm like really hot in a workout, I'm like, oh, it's so hot, I gotta take this shirt off. Look at me do pull-ups. What's Distant Thunder? I'll tell you about it in a second.
Come here. Let me sing you a song.
Yeah. It's a musical. There's song and dance numbers. It's so cool. Yeah.
So JD just asked me a question, and I should speak of it. So JD says, Roy, I'm not sure if you have talked about your background.
Come on, JD.
It's recognizable.
All the time.
Worthy it says a lot. So just to honor JD, our question man in the chat room, let me speak to the.
Your background.
My background, not my background. Shannon's like, you don't want to know his background. It's dirty and shaded and jaded, and we can't talk about half of it. So, no, this is Mount Rushmore, if you haven't recognized. And, of course, we don't recognize it because this is the grandfathers right here. These were here before Mount Rushmore. The reason why they chose this place to do what they did was because of its features. But if you look at it, those grandfathers were naturally there, and the sacred ground, all ground is sacred. But those were, I use this to talk to people, mostly white folks, or people who don't understand our culture. And They have things to say about, why you want to change the name of a football team, or why do you want us to, why do you piss on Mount Rushmore, or flip it off? Why do I see Indians doing things like that? It's disrespectful to our nation and its founders and forefathers. And I use this as a perfect example because this was a place where they believed God dwelled, and this was the Pasapas. This is a sacred mountain with the grandfathers. The wisdom of the people belonged in that mountain, and it was like if you were to take Mount Sinai and carve Hitler's face on it. Imagine the brevity of that. Imagine in your mind, if you can, if that was even something that a human being would even be possible of doing, and the world allowing that to happen, versus here we're trying to justify it. Here we justify it. Here we say, no, it's okay to desecrate those people's place of God with the faces of people that conquered them. But it wouldn't be okay anywhere else on the planet. But here it was okay. Here we sit and look today, and even Indian people look today, dance in front of it and do all of those things and say, oh, that was okay. It's not okay. It was never okay. This was sacred land that was desecrated. And that, I think, is one of the things that people should really take a look at, and look at the depth of that and what it does to us as Native people, to say that literally is something that is okay in this world, or is overlooked in this world. It really gets to the core of my activism, because nowhere else on the planet would something like that allowed to be done, or stand without speaking to it, or talking about how atrocious it is and how disrespectful it is. We don't speak about it. It doesn't get talked about enough. And I think that this is one of the most important issues of our day to really look at, because it's really indicative of how Native America, of Indian country, is treated, because it's something that is so vile and profound as that is okay, and we don't even speak. We put more time into changing the name of a football team than talking about this issue here. And it's just one of those things that gets me fired up, really fired up.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, you're messing with the emotions of our chat room here, Roy.
Yeah, well, you asked for it, JD. You asked for it, JD. And but it's the most insane, if you really, really, really think about it, and you put it in perspective of some other, even us Indians, even us natives of this land who know what that is. We don't even look at it with the importance of what that really means to the world. I mean, think about it. Nowhere would that be done. Anywhere would you be able to get away with something like that, and just shuck it off.
Yeah. There was an article, Roy, you should Google it, recently, about what this world would look like if Native rights would have been protected. If Indigenous peoples would have been allowed to do the job that they were set here to do. What would our world look like today?
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of talk about sustainability, and how tribes have had sustainability for eons, and how they care for the forests and the water, and how they.
But a lot of the good things of this nation were taken from Native America. Its system of governance, of course, all of the abundance of the land that was caretaked by the people that were here before. A lot of the things that are good in this nation were given or taken from them, from Native America. I mean, it's just you look at it, look at the truth of the matter, and the good things that this country has, and it was all taken from us.
So what do we got to do? We got to hold on.
That's right.
We have been, and like Shaun said, and I love hearing that come out of people's mouths. Is things are changing. There is a new energy in the air.
Yeah.
And I attribute it to all of the young folks out there that are really, energized and putting their energy into making change and using the platforms that the world has given us today, like this, to get out there and start kicking some ass. You know, oh gosh, the protests that you just went to, I have seen your moments all the time. What's that?
Standing Rock?
Yeah, Standing Rock. Gosh. So Standing Rock, that was huge. That was huge. And I hear everybody who went there coming back with a new experience and expressing it to us in the way that they saw it. Like you saw something else. You saw an artistic way to represent it and to take things from it, and that's how you understood it. And all of our guests who've been there have said similar things. What they brought back from there. So that gathering was important. It wasn't necessarily the Standing Rock issue itself, of course, all important in and of itself, but the community of Native America that went there. And Indian country, bringing all of that community back home and back to the airways and back to there. That was an important event. I think that was a very important event at this time, and I think we're going to get a lot more from it too still. And then there's going to be more events. I think there
will be. Yeah,
it's happening. Things are happening.
Yeah, it was also what I learned there was the process of being indigenous, or it was indigenous led, and you could see in stark contrast how the native people were leading it and the way we were existing in that community versus like the barbed wire fence and the militarized vehicles and the oppressive forces on the other side. And it was like the two ways of life, right, representing it right there, and one trying to just continue to smash down the indigenous way and what that could and how it could, I don't know. For me, it's like, no, don't. Why would you want to smash that down? Why would you embrace the horrific past that this country has, done to put on to Native people? Work through the healing of that and help uplift it now, instead of and so I think that is shifting. I think we're coming out of this really traumatic year with new pathways opening up.
Yeah.
And I do see young people who I'm learning from the way they speak and the way they speak with power and leadership, and no more bogus, you know what I mean? And no more tiptoeing around the conversation and pleasing everybody while you talk to the oppressor, but just like going at it. And it's teaching me how to have that voice too, for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is different, and I'm so glad that I'm here and get to watch it unfold. And even the things coming into the association and the inquiries are changing, and I'm getting more and more opportunity to talk about what that change needs to look like as we move forward from here. We really have a lot of opportunity, and we have to be active, and we all have a responsibility for it. We all should be accountable to this change that's coming, and work together, and hopefully in peace with one another, in some kind of unity with one another as we move this forward and shift things in a direction that we've never had an opportunity. Well, we've never had an opportunity. I think there was a day long, long ago where we could still, where the animals and us could communicate back then, where there was unity in thought and mind. When we could fly, when we could talk to the animals and learn their languages. Do you know this song?
No.
Don't.
Oh my God!
She just totally boomered herself hard right there.
Sorry, I'm starting to get loopy. It's late. Hey.
Right on, right on.
Start singing my Disney records here shortly. That's going to be bad.
Yeah, then it's really late.
Yeah. It's been wonderful to have you on, Sean.
Thank you.
You're a great guest, and I'm so
it's a pleasure.
Proud to be near you and get to watch
thank you.
this happen and unfold.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to get to be on this show and to be witness to the work you're both doing, and on the hard work on the ground, that the association is doing, and then also just like we said, disseminating this information on this cool talk show in a way that's really contemporary and where we can just be a part of the conversation, and connect in these times. So yeah, it's great. I love your guys' show. It's awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks,
bro.
Thanks,
we
Sean.
appreciate it. Feel like a real live celebrity. Look at this. We're like making friends in some cool places, Shannon. We're making some cool friends, not just all your lawyering friends. By the way, what lawyer do we have on next week?
Actually, no. Actually, we have another repeat customer, so to speak. Sienna East from Utah and Isleta, who is a comedian. She's going to be with us next week.
She's gonna make you guys laugh. Oh, she's awesome.
She's awesome, but she looks like she's 12 years old.
I know.
So it's hard for me to get past. I'm an old fogey. It's hard for me to get past that. And she's talking. I'm like, whoa, you're not 12. You're an adult woman. Hold on.
Right on. Well, Sean, it's going to be really cool to follow you and, update us constantly, please, so that we can promote you and
thank you so much.
I want to be part. I want to get out there and see it somehow.
I hope you guys please come to Oklahoma next year. I hope it'll be safe by then. And
I would love to. I'd love to get out there and see the family and everything. And,
and
come hang out. And that would be cool.
Oh, it'd be great to have you in the audience. I get you guys tickets. It'll be wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, we got connects too, Shannon. Look at that. Whoa. Yeah.
Awesome.
Get the connects.
Be able to some tickets or get a sponsor to get some tickets for us to give away on our show.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we could do some.
Yeah, please. That'd be awesome. Because it's like I want to have Native people come to the show. It's like believe it or not, it's not easy.
Well, where are you going to do it at?
It's the Lyric Theater of Oklahoma, the Lyric Theater of Oklahoma. It's in Oklahoma City. And we were arranging, we were having all sorts of tribal councils call us up and say, hey, we have like $20,000 we have to spend in the education area for our kids. We want to use it, sending them to your show. So we're making inroads like that, but it's getting the word out. I was going around the powwow circuit. I was at a different powwow in Oklahoma City like every weekend, and I worked my way up to the mic somehow each time, and they were, welcome, Brother Sean. I was like, whoa, Brother Sean. I've never been called that before. Thank you. I felt a lot of pressure at that one because then all of a sudden it got real quiet in the powwow grounds, and everyone was like looking at me. I was like,
bring it. I got to bring it now.
I got to bring it. I have a musical. It's a Native musical. They're like, what? Please come. But getting Native people there is really important and big, and it's just getting the word out, and that's what we're gonna do. So we got some time to do that, and making sure it's safe. So
Yep.
Yeah. But thanks, you guys. I'll keep you guys updated.
Well, good deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna close this sucker down for the night, and until next week. Anything we should be watching out for, Roy? Wait.
JD wants to audition. All right. Hey.
Oh.
You got 16 measures of a song.
He said, "Not really."
Just jump on there.
16 measures.
I want Shannon to audition. We want to record it. We want to have her do a piece of Hold On.
No.
You know it. Come on. You saw the show. You saw the reading.
Karaoke. That's it.
All right. Fine.
Drunk karaoke.
I'll make a karaoke version. I'll send you a track. You'll be in one of the videos.
Right on, Sean. Well, thank you very much. And
Thanks,
hey,
man.
let me
Thanks.
get your before you leave, put your email in the private chat there, and that way I can get in touch with you.
Okay.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. It was good having you. Take care.
Good having you, Sean. All right. So what was that? Number 35?
Episode 35. Yes.
35. I want to remind everyone to please go to YouTube. Please subscribe to our channel. The more you subscribe,
comment, and subscribe. Smash that like button. Smash it. Smash it up.
The more when is the casting call? April Skinnis wants to know. Casting call. We'll let you know, man. In Oklahoma, the casting call, I think they have all the parts. Didn't Sean say they had all the parts from all around Indian country? Are you frozen?
Yeah, no, I'm not frozen. I was
you were.
No, he said they got the cast all dialed in. They're ready to go.
Okay.
But he said it's good to know more people. You can never have too much talent, right? Right? You got to have that pool filled up.
That's right. Okay. What were we saying?
You were saying how awesome the association is bringing this show to the community.
And that's why it's so important to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel, because we want to build this show. We want to increase the production value. We want to do this well. And it would really help to get us more subscribers so that we can do that. So
yes, and remember to comment too, even if it's not a nice comment, you can go ahead and put it in there to Shannon anyway.
Porno, because we've had a few of those too. So don't do that because we just delete you off of there. But please feel free to comment or make fun of Roy, whatever you like.
I'll take it.
On our YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it.
I could send you pictures of Shannon too. I got some pictures you guys might like. So just comment on there and I can ship those off to you.
But I don't even want to know. let's just turn the show off and move on.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week on Red Hoop Top. Bye-bye. I'm pushing the button.